South Africa's Director of Rugby, Rassie Erasmus, is in hot water again. With World Rugby, the World Cup winning coach will miss the remainder of the Springboks' end-of-the-year tour after being issued with a fresh ban following his latest social media rants. World Rugby has since issued a statement in response to Erasmus's recent criticism of officiating in the Boks defeats to Ireland and France. Erasmus was banned last year for criticizing match officials during the British and Irish Lions series. He had just returned after the end of that ban and was in Dublin 2 weeks ago when the Boks took on Ireland. SABC News sports anchor Thabiso Sithole spoke to analyst Kanyiso Utsuaku.
The question then comes in, is Rassie doing more harm to South African rugby than he is good? Is he fighting the fight the wrong way, or it is just what it is?
Look, I mean, it's become clear that if you keep quiet, nothing happens. If you cry, I mean, there's a saying that a silent child never gets any milk. If you kick and scream, you get punished. So it's clear that World Rugby aren't broking any compromise when it comes to protecting match officials, which is fine. It's their employees, but at some point, that those match officials are going to make a mistake in a big game that doesn't involve South Africa. And are they going to turn and say, it's the referee's fault, it's this fault, whose fault? They're not going to turn and point the finger at themselves. And to be fair, Rassie, none of the coaches will say this, as much as it may be an unpopular opinion. A lot of the coaches around the world will know that Rassie is doing a job for them, because maybe some of them know that they can say it in hushed tones in press conferences. They can highlight a major issue that happens, a game deciding issue in a game. But with those nitty-gritties, they'll look back and say, publicly they'll disagree. They're like, no, that's wrong, to save face. But privately they'll realize that we've got the very same issues. Because if you are Fabien Galtier and you are on the receiving end, I mean, for example, Wayne Barnes didn't spot 4 forward passes in a very short sequence of play in the game. And if one of those forward passes led to a try and France loses that game, how do you think Fabien Galtier would feel? He'd be better, because he can't say, but you guys didn't. What is your job as a referee? Because you didn't pick up these forward passes. So it's always easy to talk when you are on the thick end of the wedge. But if you're on the thin end of the wedge, I mean, it becomes, you come across as a sore loser. But at the end of the day, you are now dealing with a system that is actively not seeking to punish its match officials for having bad days. I mean, if you look at the Peter de Villiers right now, Bryce Lawrence pretty much refed South Africa out of the 2011 quarterfinal against Australia. He was awarded with a position as head of New Zealand. He's now New Zealand's head of referees. Peter de Villiers is now coaching deaf rugby. So you just realize that referees are in a position to play God with people's careers. And there is no recourse for coaches if they get fired from a particular result stemming from a mistake made on the field.
Here's another question. You are currently with the team. You've been touring with them since they left South Africa. The results have not been the best for South Africans so far. What's the mood like in camp? What's the mood like when you're at those training sessions? Forget the results. In particular now, I know you haven't met with the team yet because the announcement of Rassie's banning came overnight. What do you think it will be like at ground zero for those Springboks who have there's a touchy, lovey, brotherly family feeling when that team, and Rassie is a big part of that team, in particular with Captain Sia?
Look, I mean, from training sessions, the guys have been having an absolute ball. They have been enjoying their work. I think also when you look at the results, they have lost, but it's not earth-shattering losses. I mean, look, say for decisions that could have gone their way in the France game, they would have won that game. They played a very enterprising brand of rugby, and a very surprising brand of rugby at that. I mean, that France game, a brand of rugby that a lot of South Africans need to videotape, keep on the drive, so that if they see it again, they don't feel that it's a one-party trick. Look, South Africans tend to be at their best when their back's against the wall, because they'll feel like everyone's against us and someone needs to pay.
In fact, somebody would say Can you say it's a good thing that we're losing these matches now, because at the end of the day, soon we've got a World Cup. So I'd rather we have us go through this slack and then pick up when it matters at that World Cup.
Indeed. So I mean, now the Boks could just turn and say, look, it's us against the world. So the only way to do that when you've got the world against you is to just deliver on the field and make examples of people. I mean, Italy go into this game on the back of 3 consecutive wins. But if Italy then get inflicted some pain, England will sit back and think that these guys still have to come here and play us. And if the Boks are able to bottle that emotion, channel it where they need to channel it on Saturday, and bottle some of it and channel it in Twickenham, because I think winning there, regardless of how the referee goes, because it's also a very hostile atmosphere, it's going to send a big message.